Hi guys, I'm Anushka and today I'll be talking a little about how I do my digital artworks. You guys really seem to like those. I asked on an Instagram poll and 78% of you guys said Photoshop art, so that's exactly what we're doing today. To begin with, I'm going to go to Photoshop and then I click open. So when I click this open, I see okay, so this is the artwork that I'm going to use today. So when I click open, and when you open an image, this is the thing that comes. This is the tab that opens, and you can further like adjust if you want to have more clarity or you want more of the color, vibrance, and all of that. So you can do that. I don't usually do this, but if the picture is not that great, you can just enhance it a little bit. And then I don't usually crop my images here. I'll just open the image. Don't click on done because it will just close the window. So now I'll crop this. I'll keep it a little more so that I can have the border. Alright, now I will reduce its opacity. So if there's a lock over here, you'll have to unlock it to be able to reduce its opacity. You can also open a new project if you want a specific width and height and all that resolution on all of that stuff, so you don't get the default image size. So I don't actually need this, so I'm just going to do it on this itself. Okay, now I'll reduce the opacity to till a point where I can somewhat see it. So you see all these pixels because there's no layer under, so I'm going to add another layer and just fill white. So I'm clicking option and delete to fill the white. There's also a tool somewhere over here. I actually always use option plus delete on Mac, that is. I don't know what it is on Windows, but I'll just put it on the screen once I Google it. So I need to reduce the opacity a little more. Yeah, this looks fine. Now I can just lock this layer because then it won't move, and I just want it to stay in place. Even this base layer actually. Before I start showing how the process and everything, I just want to talk about the tools that I use. That is my PC, of course, my laptop, and I also do use a graphic tablet. I use Wacom 1. It looks something like this and it does not have a screen. However, I can obviously use my laptop screen, so it's like having a mouse in a form of paper and pen. So I do get a pen with it, and I'll show you with a brush. This is way easier to do it with a pen than a mouse or the touchpad. So I'm deleting this. So this is where the new layer will be, and in case you cannot find this whole section, just go to Window, Workspace, Reset Essentials, and it will be right there. Okay, so now I will add another layer. If you want to pick the exact color that is over here, you can, again, full opacity 100%, go to this color picker tool, and then you click whatever color you want, and it's right there. So sometimes, in pictures your camera is not that great. In case, like, I use my phone camera and my phone is quite old, so the grayness can be more. So what I will do is, here are the grays, here are the black, and here's the white. So I will go away from the gray a little here or whatever and just use that color. And in case you just don't want to use any of these colors, that's fine. That's okay. For now, I'll pick the exact color. It is a little gray. I don't mind it. I went a little further away, or you can even go towards white, but it will make it a little lighter. Now we'll come to the brushes. Now you have the color. Now we'll go to the brushes. This is the brush tool. So I actually do not remember what are the default brushes because I've installed a few free set of brushes that you get on Google. But usually what I use is this soft round. Then you can set the hardness of the brush. Now I'm increasing the size of the brush. This is with this 0% hardness. Now I'm gonna see what happens if I do it at 50. Yeah, so it's basically it doesn't have that feather effect as much as this one. This one just blends. And now I'm going to go to hardness like 100. This is almost like the hard round tool. So if I were to compare a hard round tool, I actually never adjusted the hardness of my soft round brush, but now you know. I'm just making this invisible for now. So these are the brushes. If you remember, I have drawn those piercings for my characters, and in that I have the shining effect. So I don't really have that kind of a brush, but what I do is, now this is round. I'll just increase the hardness. This is round, and then you see these two anchor points. You just bring them close and you get an oval, and then you go all the way, and then that's what you get. And that is how I did the shine. And then again, you can also adjust the angles. You just move it. Yeah, that's how I did that. Okay, so now you're going to need an eraser. Unlike traditional paintings, you can erase these. That's not the best part. You can always go back. You can also set the opacity of the eraser. So in case I just want to smoothen the edges, yeah, can shade like this only if you have some layer underneath, or else what will happen is, this is what it's going to look like. Now again, I will only use this color where the light portions are, because I've picked the color with the color picker tool from here. This is so yellow, but you know what, we can adjust that later, so I'm not going to bother too much about it. Okay, another tip I'm quickly going to give, which I just started doing actually. So because I have to keep going back and forth with the opacity, if you just want to get done with this at once, what you can do is keep this opacity full. Use the color picker tool. Now I've picked this color. I'm taking my brush, going to the layer above it. Remember this. Don't get messed up with the layers. So here, I'm gonna just like do the whole swatch thing. It's still cool, I guess. And then the other color, then the brush, then swatch it out here. Then the darkest color, swatch it out here. Yeah, that's it. I just picked this color also just in case I feel like having an extra. Okay. Now I can just lock it at once, and now I can just use the color picker tool on the same layer, and I don't have to bother about the opacity back and forth. So the first layer that you make, you want to keep the opacity 100, even if at like after this you'll not be able to see anything, but this is important. I'll tell you why. So this is like the wash, you know, that we give in paintings. So this is important, except the fact that this has to be 100% opacity. Now I'm really tempted to reduce my opacity, so I will not hesitate. And I think the hardness, okay, great. This is the base. Now the black of the nostril, this needs to be full. Now in such areas, right, like you see how this looks bad, the edge, it looks like the nose has got some mold or some shit. So I'm just gonna go back, Control Z or Command, depending on what you use. Now I'm gonna tell you what a lasso tool is. This is the lasso tool, third in the row. Hopefully it's in the same order for you. And now I can just select an area. Yeah, this is easy to pull off because of my graphic pen tablet. Otherwise it would have been difficult. And now I can just color this black. Also, to leave your selection, it's Command D or Control D. Okay, this is what we have right now. No problem. Looks a little funny, but it will be fine. Now in this one, I do not want the black outline that I did, so I won't be doing it in this one. Now we have the base. Should I just name it base for you guys? Alright, so the next layer. So the next layer is where you can play with the opacity. And so again, to the brush, then you reduce the opacity to whatever you like. And because now I want to blend these colors, so that's exactly what I'll be doing. See, now if I make this layer invisible, okay, this is how you invisible the layer. Just I think you know this by now. So see, there's a certain area. Yeah, see, this area is invisible, like there's nothing here. And if I ever want this to be a PNG, you know what's going to happen? This is what it's going to look. This does not even look like a nose. I might want to just cover this area up with some color, so I'm just going to color it with this. Okay, looks fine. Looks fine to me. See, I accidentally did it on the layer 2, but that's fine now, no problem. So the area where there's a white, it's actually for highlights. So I'm going to pick the lightest color and just fill those areas for now. We will do highlights on top, because for highlights you want to reduce the opacity, which you cannot if you apply directly without any base. So I will do this. Now on layer 2, I will try to blend things together. On top of this, I'll make a highlights layer. And you can either go straight to white and reduce the opacity. I usually use straight up white for the highlights, at least on the skin tone. I like it like that. So yeah, just so that I'm able to see. I want to reduce the size. Use the darkest color. Okay, now I'm going to see how this looks. Okay, now at a point where I get the basic shape, I make the original sketch invisible, because it just becomes irrelevant for me. It just in fact becomes a distraction. See, now I can just fill in, and I'm going to pick a color just with the help of my eye and not picking any of these, because those are a little gray. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna create a layer under the base, because I just want to fill in the gaps, basically the spaces, the negative space. Yeah, see how better it looks now already. Like, I will make it better, chill, but I know it looks ugly even then. But what we had before, we had this, we had this, we had this, we had this. Okay, so and that's the point. Just like traditional paintings, you just keep building up, just building on the layers, and you can always go back, you can always erase. And this is also why the layers are so important, because you can keep going back and erasing what you want, And you can in fact even change colors, you can change shapes, you can just delete something completely, you can erase certain areas. So it's very important to use your layers. And there are a few artists who are very confident about their work, so they do not use a lot of layers, but I don't have that kind of confidence. Okay. And also it's like I like to have the option. Okay, now I just want to also introduce a few tools because you will need those for sure. I'm unlocking my base layer, that is my layer 0, full opacity. Okay, now I want to select just the greens, maybe let's say this specific type of green. So there's a tool for that, it's called the magic wand tool. It's fourth from the row, and I use that, and I click on this, and all those greens are selected. And now what I can do is form a layer at the topmost or whatever, just wherever you want. I can pick the exact color with the color picker tool. I can go to the brush and just do this. I mean, I don't do this, but I just wanted you guys to know about this tool in case you don't already. It really helps. Yeah, so now I'm going to just, that's what it did. At least give me the location. I can obviously just fill in on these with my brush, but at least I have like the basic shape, and it just helps sometimes, you know. Okay, the second tool I want to show is, now the magic wand tool will help you with the color. The quick selection tool will help you with the shape. It sort of detects an entire shape. So if I try to do it, do we have a shape? We actually don't have a shape here, so let's see. See how easily it picked up an entire leaf, just like that. All the selection tools are important, like the lasso tool and these magic wand and quick selection. These selection tools that select in shapes basically. Why I wanted to select, yeah, a circle if I want, all of these. Again, Command D or Control D for deselecting. And then also wanted to talk about these things up here. Okay, so right now I have this on elliptical selection tool. So if I keep this on the first, just the white rectangle, what happens is I select here, and if I select in another place like here, this is going to vanish. Although you can move this selection anywhere you like, but you cannot add a selection. When you go to the two white squares, you can select multiple, you know, and you can even you can just change the selection tool completely and just keep adding. Just make sure it's on the two white squares. And then you have the next, it's it minuses. So now see, this will minus this area. All of this is sort of important. It does come in handy. You are probably thinking, why am I going to need this for drawing? But it really does help. Sometimes you want to move something, some object from here to there, change the colors, which you can, by the way, that I will probably do another video about. This last one actually I have never used, so even I don't know. So we'll see what it does. Yeah, so it just removes whatever selection other than that. So if I do this, this is the only part that will be selected. I think these are the only tools I want to talk about today. So I just complete the artwork, I guess. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked the video. First of all, I hope it helped more than anything. And consider subscribing to my channel. Help me gain 300 subscribers, and like this video if you liked it, obviously. And I'll see you on a Sunday. Hopefully we'll be doing some traditional art on Sunday, or if you all want a part 2 of the same video, let me know in the comments. And until next time, bye.